Yeah, they're no longer Circle K's, but yeah.
And,
To make
oh,
sure
okay.
your mic is on to the audio.
Okay, we can get started. Welcome everyone to the Planning Commission meeting for May 10th, 2017. First of all, we the Commission would like to welcome Mr. Paul Marsh to the Victorville Planning Commission. Was just appointed recently. And so I think first we need to do the swearing in of the new commissioner, correct?
Yes, we do, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Yes, Blanca Gomez's selection for the Planning Commission is Paul Marsh, as you mentioned, and I have been deputized by the city clerk to swear him in, so we could do that now. Paul Marsh solemnly affirms. Any mental reservation.
Official.
Yeah, thank you.
Roll call, please. Here.
Vice Chair Porter.
Here.
Commissioner Huber.
Here.
Commissioner Dew.
Present.
And Commissioner Marsh.
Present.
Thank you very much.
And next is the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Invocation by Commissioner Dew and invocation by Commissioner Porter and pledge of allegiance by Commissioner Dew, please.
All the blessings you have given this community, opportunity to live freely.
Of the United
And we have some minutes that need to be approved for the April 12, 2017 meeting.
So move.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Dew, a second by Commissioner Huber to approve the minutes of the Planning Commissioner regular meeting of April 12th, 2017. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those minutes have been approved with the abstaining of the vote for our newest commissioner, Mr. Marsh.
Thank you. Agenda item number 1, Mr. Webb.
Thank you, Chairman Kurth, fellow commissioners. Item number 1 is case PLN 17-3. It's a request to allow a convenience store with accessory car wash, also alcohol sales, and a tentative parcel map. Staff is requesting a continuance of this item to the June 14th meeting so that we can finalize the environmental review that's currently in process with the state agencies. Again, that's a continuance to the June 14th hearing, and we're available if you have any questions.
Any questions for staff? I'll open up the public hearing on agenda item number 1 if there's anyone here to speak to us. Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing, and I'll make a motion to continue this agenda item number 1 to the June 14th, 2017 meeting.
Second.
I have a motion by Chair Kurth, a second by Commissioner Huber to continue item number 1, PLN 17-00003 to the June 14th regular meeting of the Planning Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That will be continued to June 14th.
Thank you. Agenda item number 2.
Thank you. Item number 2 is also a request to continue a tentative parcel map located at 15825 Mojave Drive. Staff's currently in the process of receiving revised maps, so we need to condition appropriately. So the request again is for the June 14th Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? I'll open up the public hearing on agenda item number 2 if there's anyone to speak to us. Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing, and I'll make a motion to continue agenda item number 2 to the June 14th, 2017 meeting.
I have a motion by Chair Kurth, a second by Vice Chair Porter to continue item number 2, PLN 17-00009 to the June 14th regular meeting of the Planning Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That will be continued to June 14th.
Thanks. Item number 3, please.
Item number 3 is case PLN 16-27. It is a conditional use permit with an environmental exemption to allow for wireless communication facilities attached to street light poles. The proposed location is city-wide throughout any right-of-way. The pilot location the applicant's requesting is an existing street pole on the east side of Hesperia Road, approximately 300 feet south of Silica Drive. The applicant Mobility is requesting approval of the installation of a wireless communication facility mounted to a Southern California Edison street light pole throughout the city. Staff is recommending the Planning Commission only approve the pilot location on Hesperia Road at this time. Since all other future locations will be governed by a proposed municipal code amendment, which is item 4 on this agenda that we'll discuss later today. The proposed code amendment will exempt these type of facilities and streamline the process. Some background on this proposal: the applicant Mobility originally submitted 7 other wireless towers in the right-of-way, all of them much larger than the proposed pilot location, which is just mounted on a street light pole. There was numerous issues with them that conflicted with the right-of-way. We've since worked with the applicant, and they're willing to just withdraw those applications and go with the street light standard that's displayed behind me. Just general description of the proposal: it's a 29-foot high street light pole. They will be replacing it with an SCE approved design. The pole will measure no more than a foot in diameter. It will look essentially the same as the original street light pole, and it will have a 2-foot antenna mounted to the top with some transmission equipment mounted to the side of the pole. Staff finds that there's sufficient grounds to make the findings of the conditional use permit, given essentially that we, as a city, have to allow these facilities in some capacity in the right-of-way. Staff feels that these type of streetlight mounted facilities are less imposing than adding additional poles in the right-of-way, and therefore staff recommends approval as conditioned.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Okay, I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing on agenda item number 3. If there's anyone that would like to speak to us, or the applicant's representative, if you have any comments, now would be the time.
Good evening, Commission. This is my, I represent Mobility, and I just recommend, we've worked really hard at redesigning the network for our client in the public right-of-way. This is the future of where technology is going with the high-speed data that we all know and love with our devices, and with smart cars, and with all the new technologies that are coming out. This will put us in the right position in your city for your fire, your police, and all the wireless technologies that the city and the community takes advantage of.
Any questions? I just had one curious question.
Sure.
We were kind of told, or we kind of understand, that this maybe at this point kind of fills in the gaps maybe of some coverage.
Right.
But do you foresee, in the near future that maybe all poles would have this, and to cover all streets for smart cars, things like that?
These communicate with the large existing macro towers that we've been putting up for years. So these will fill in those high-speed data gaps. I've noticed, in different areas that my GPS doesn't work very well, or it sits there and it just dials and we don't actually pick anything up. These will fill in those high-density areas that are lacking.
No, it's just a fill-in for now. Okay.
No. These will actually be upgradable in the future should technology change. So it's very unintrusive compared to the history of where cell used to be.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Are there anyone else to speak on agenda item number 3? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission.
Pilot location only.
I have a motion by Vice Chair Porter, a second by Commissioner Dew, to approve item number 3, PLN 16-000027, approving the pilot location only. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So that has been approved.
And agenda item number 4?
Thank you, Chair. Item number 4 is case DEV 16-11. It's a proposed amendment to the Victorville Municipal Code with an environmental exemption to revise standards associated with wireless communication facilities located within the public right-of-way and on private property. This applies to citywide right-of-way. Development staff and the city attorney's office has worked on this proposed amendment mainly to clean up our existing wireless communications code to conform with current state and federal laws. We're also introducing an exempt section which would exempt facilities in the right-of-way that we just discussed in item number 3. So if this is approved, applicants like Mobility would not have to go through a conditional use permit process. It would be an exempt process that the city would just approve through an encroachment permit if they meet the provisions of the municipal code. And we've put a number of standards in there to limit the size and essentially allow only the type of facility that you saw in item number 3. We found during our review of this that the city has to allow these wireless facilities within the right-of-way, but we do have the authority of the time, place, and manner in which we allow them. So we've worked to create a code that will allow these facilities, but will not overly allow these facilities. We've cracked the door a bit, but we don't want to open the floodgates to allow larger towers that would take up area in the right-of-way that's already overcrowded. Other than that, we've just added some more general provisions to meet the state and federal codes, allowing certain timings for modifications of existing facilities. And we're recommending approval, that you could send this on to the council for further review, with the understanding that the city attorney, after they scrutinize it further, they may have some non-substantive changes to it, but they've done a good review of it, and if there is changes, they would be minor. But at this point, we're at a point where we feel comfortable with the ordinance that you can move it forward to the city council if you see fit. We're available if you have any questions.
Thanks. Any questions of staff? I'll open up the public hearing on item number 4. Is there anyone here to speak on 4? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission.
Chairman, I'll recommend the City Council find the code amendment exempt pursuant to Section 15061B3 of the California Environment Quality Act and adopt resolution number P17-004 recommending City Council approval of case number 6-00011.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dew, a motion by Commissioner Huber, a second by Commissioner Dew, to approve item number 4, DEV 16-00011, recommending City Council approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that will be presented to the City Council for approval. The earliest date I see for that for noticing would be June 6th.
Thank you. Agenda item number 5, please.
Item number 5 is case PLN 16-29. It's a retail shopping center expansion to the Dunia Plaza, located on the southwest corner of Amargosa and Bear Valley Road. The applicant is requesting a continuance as they still work out some of the easement, the existing easements between some of the adjacent properties. But we're expecting this to be resolved and to have a full review of the entire project at your June 14th hearing. So we do request that you continue this to the June 14th meeting.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak to us on agenda item number 5? No one? Close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission. And I'll go ahead and make the motion to continue this item to the June 14th, 2017 meeting.
A motion by Chair Kurth, a second by Commissioner Porter, to continue item number 5, PLN 16-00029, to the June 14th regular meeting of the Planning Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That will be continued to June 14th.
Thanks. In compliance with the Brown Act, it is necessary for the Planning Commission to make time available for members of the public to address the Planning Commission on items of interest that fall within the Planning Commission's subject matter jurisdiction. Is there anyone here tonight that would like to speak to the Commission? agenda item number 6.
Thank you, Chairman Kurth. Item number 6 is a new business item that we're continuing on the discussion that we started in March. In March, staff brought forward a request from a facility in Victorville, Midway Home Solutions, sorry. They were requesting to do a digital display, which does not conform to our current code. So we brought that forward for consideration of the Planning Commission. We also brought it back in April with a comparison of what other cities in the high desert and some others along the 15th freeway in the San Bernardino Valley are doing. That was discussed, and the feedback we received was to have the actual business owner come before you and provide some additional feedback. So I believe they're here today to provide some additional insight for your deliberation.
Thank you. Any questions of staff at this point? No? Okay, I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing. And Mr. Lager?
Thank you. My name is Don Lager. I'm president of Midway Home Solutions. And my company's been up here since 1961. We bought the Kmart building in 2003. And we'd just like to upgrade our signs to a digital sign and get I think we draw some more traffic off the freeway, and we can advertise more goods and services off of a digital sign. And I think that's where our signage is going today. So I'd like if you guys would possibly make an amendment to the city rules and consider me for a digital sign.
Questions, Ms. Lager?
I don't have a question, Mr. Chairman, but I would like to tell you my efforts today. Today I went on the website regarding the speed rail system. To my knowledge, Chairman Lovingood had wrote a letter to the federal government regarding the speed rail system structure and other things that and in doing so, as I had stated in an earlier meeting, and changing the code from 50 acres to anything less, I think would be problematic in the sense that we don't know exactly what's going to occur within the future. And I think it would be prudent of us to find an alternative to accommodate the applicant.
I have a couple questions. Mr. Lager, could you put a bigger sign up than you have now?
That's possible, yes.
Thought about doing that?
We could, yeah. No, we haven't. I just wanted to get approval if you guys would even entertain the idea of putting a digital sign on the property.
Are they a lot more? Are they expensive? The digital signs?
Oh yeah,
Are they?
considerably. My preliminary quote on the sign that I have now was around $60,000, and it could go upwards of $100,000 probably.
That shopping center is really pretty much vacant. There's only about 3 people in that center right now.
Yeah, just the restaurant. Well, I think the pool hall's moving out, but no, there's basically just me and a restaurant and a couple little restaurants. So, but we're a big retailer.
Say that he could put up a 40-foot sign if it wasn't digital.
Yes, since he's adjacent to the freeway, he would be allowed a 40-foot sign.
Be able to put up a 40-foot sign without us changing the code.
Up to 4. What do I have now? Like 30?
I'm not sure exactly what the current height is. I don't believe it's capped out at 40 right now. I believe it might be a little bit above 24, which is a standard height.
I think the existing structure would support a new sign. Looks like the poles are probably 18-inch. There's 2 of them. So, and a digital sign is going to be considerably lighter than any of the signs that were built 30 years ago. So,
Yeah, any new sign, even if they tried to raise it or add the digital display, would have to go through the building department, and they'd have to have engineer calculations to make sure it meets current code. But we would definitely, if that's the the commission's direction, to just look at alternatives as far as another just static sign. We would definitely work with the applicant if that's your direction, and look at alternatives that fit within the code.
Obviously, it's going to move. That's right at that corner.
So the city is not the only one that governs these electronic displays. Caltrans also has standards for the separation of them. They need to be more than 1,000 feet away from an existing digital display. And they also have provisions on how fast they can change copy. So you're not going to get a fluttering of flashing. I believe it's at least 3 seconds, I believe, before it can change to a different display.
One more time and have the applicant
I'm in concurrence with that.
I have a comment before we. To me, 50-foot acreage in size is out of line. Nobody else has anything like that. Apple Valley has 100 feet. We have Hesperia with 1,000 feet, 2,500 feet with 25,000 square feet. And then down below, a lot of places really kind of restrict reader signs. They don't even allow them. So I have a mixed emotions in this. If we're going to allow this, 50 feet is not in line, in my opinion. There aren't more than 3 50-foot parcels in Victorville right now.
50
Pardon?
acre.
Acreage, yeah, 50 acres in size. So I think that is out of line. I do think that shopping center has been really in need of something, whether a continuance and a bigger sign or a reader board or some more advertising some way is warranted on that shopping center, even though it's 10 acres. But that's what my recommendation.
Are you willing to look into alternatives besides the digital sign? And what's your what was your motivation for the digital sign? What do you envision that it would say besides just your business name?
Ongoing specials. I mean, Costco's right around the corners. They do $200 million a year in business up here on the high desert. I'm guessing, maybe more. Hey, if we can snag some of their customers, I'm all for it. We can get some people off the freeway, I'm all for it. We're in a digital world today. Everything's digital. Everybody today is they shop for something, they're on their phone. I'm converting all my price tags on my floor at this point right now to digital price tags. They will change 4 times a day if need be to be competitive with our competitors. I mean, that's the way retail is today. And if you don't come to the party, you're probably going to be out of business. And there's a lot of vacant stores up here on the high desert. And I don't want to be one of them. I want to stay ahead of the curve while we still can. So that's my ideas.
On that sign, do you envision it would say your business name and then it would say furniture and then it would flash appliances?
Yeah, have like a special on a washer and dryer or I mean, we sell mattresses, appliances, furniture, we remodel kitchens. There's a lot of things we do, and they could be up on the signs. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of our customers today still don't know that we do the things that we do. We're the largest Lazy Boy dealer in San Bernardino County. So there's a lot of things we do that I think could be advertised better, and that's a great place. I mean, look at the freeway count alone, the people going through there every day. So
And what is the size of your building?
86,000 square feet.
86,000. And the parcel that you're on, you own your parcel in your building, right?
Yes, mine's 6.5 acres.
6.5 acre
Right.
parcel. And your sign that you're proposing, you already have this existing sign that is your sign, you own it, and it's on your parcel
Yes,
currently? And would be the same situation with the...
exactly, yes.
So there would be no joint sharing of costs or other tenants or other businesses?
Well, there
within
is two other companies would have their signs on there, but they really haven't been upkept and those kind of things. And I think they're going to need to be upgraded also.
I'm just kind of saying for the future, your 6 acre parcel, but it's really, I think, 10 acres.
10 acres
including
total.
The strip shop spaces, the restaurant building. Are any of those, have they approached you in some kind of joint use, or whether it be
No, this is
rent or cost?
this
or
is
would
all.
just be
This is
Midway?
just been myself. That's
Just
it.
Midway. Okay. Okay.
Well, I would go ahead and second Paula's motion to see if they have him look into a sign to see how big a sign he could put up to alternative. Like the commissioners don't particularly like a reader board, so
Rob, you have
maybe
a
look
card.
into it and see and bring it back.
He has one of these.
Yeah, before we do that,
You have a card?
Oh,
No, you have
yeah,
that
I
one.
do have
Okay,
another
got
card.
it.
So before we vote, I have one more comment. Well, Mr. Lager's here. I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I am concerned about the Caltrans regulations of 1,000 feet for the digit, because then that knocks out. You got a 6 acre parcel, but that knocks out maybe a larger development because it's within 1,000 square feet. That could be a very large, or we don't know down the road. However, he's in an 86,000 square foot building, right? That's very substantial. To me, maybe more so than an acreage in that area. I haven't really studied the aerial to guess on future size parcels, but if we do end up continuing it, one of my suggestions would be to maybe look at building footage, a substantial user versus just acreage, if we're going to look at it.
Mr. Chairman, Mayor, I would like to consider the fact that with the speed rail system, obviously it's not dead in the water. If I can read and communication from the supervisor for the first district, it was dated, I believe, April 3rd of this year. So I know that Commissioner Huber mentioned other municipalities, but those other municipalities all do not have the same dynamics in which we do. And when I testified before the Transportation Commission, the two cities had the most interest at that particular time was the city of Barstow and the city of Victorville. So with that said, again, as relates to the 15 or 50 acres, I think we should be prudent regarding the future. I yield back.
Okay, I have one more. Do you have any other questions at this point?
No, I would like to go to my sign company, maybe get an artist rendering for the next meeting, and if you guys could give me some guidance on height and signage, and I could have her get a plan together, and we could do that on the next meeting.
Yeah, and I think at this point we know what the code allows as far as height of sign, right? But I think it would help if you guys agree to see a rendering of maybe what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'd like to have a little bit bigger
the design
footprint
of
on the sign itself.
and what the architectural structure that you're kind of thinking of.
Sure.
Might help if we are going to continue to readdress this for you.
Do you think it's possible to put a digital sign on the property, or do I need to rebuild the sign that I have?
We don't know yet.
As you can tell, we're a little bit still not convinced either way.
Okay.
I can tell you that we do agree that you are a major business in this city, a long-term business, but I think we're kind of trying to balance future precedent.
Okay.
So if you can
Get with staff.
you can bear with us for another meeting, maybe we can get there.
Okay. Shall I prepare some drawings?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we can meet first, and I can bring in the building division too to let you understand what would be required to reuse the existing or portions of the existing sign.
Uh-huh.
But we can meet and discuss alternatives, and also, I would also move forward with some design for the digital display to present to the commission for consideration.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a card from Mr. Quayle.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
Chairman, Commissioners, and staff. I'm here this evening just to address some of the questions you might have on the electronic signs. We have been in business since 1961 also, and we probably put up a few thousand of those. They've become very popular. They're taking the place of large signs with a lot of tenants on them. Landlords are actually getting rid of some of the larger pylons and going to the digital signs with a higher resolution. I have some folders here I'd like to give you that have some really good, simple information in them, but I apologize, I only have 5 sets, so if you don't mind.
That's fine.
Thank you.
I'd like to, if you wouldn't mind, open up the folder that says Optec. Optec is one of the brand names of electronics that we supply our sign users. And this is quite brief, but it just gives you a brief summary here of why electronic message systems and signs. It talks about the safety of them. It addresses some of the questions many people have as far as the impact with drivers and driver safety. It's been proven by quite a few studies through quite a few colleges through the United States that these don't have any impact whatsoever on drivers. And the flashing, there is no flashing, and the message change is regulated by state law. And as the city planner had mentioned, there is Caltrans that is involved with this. Whenever anybody puts up a sign that's visible from the freeway, there are time restraints on it, and there are also distance restraints on them too. So it actually cuts down on a lot of clutter, and they actually have found that quite a few cities have contacted us working with shopping centers that want to get rid of the blighted large tenant signs and incorporate one big sign with all the tenants getting fair, equal time on it. The other thing that has happened over the years with some of the disasters we've had in our communities, these electronic signs have been used for giving people direction for warnings, such as the fires we had down south and any earthquake issues. A lot of the schools have them now, and the schools are using those to inform parents and students of events coming up or changes in schedules. Amber Alert is another important issue with it. Back when redevelopment agencies were in effect with all the cities, the agencies actually had conditions with the sign users to where they had an opportunity to advertise so many minutes a day of community activity. So that is something, another thing the cities are doing is encouraging sign users to put community messages on them. So there's a lot of good uses for them. Again, they get rid of the blight. I know code enforcement in every city is a big issue, but a lot of the temporary signs can be replaced by electronic signs that can change messages. As far as restrictions on square footage and acreage, over the years when electronic signs first came out, we saw that to be quite an issue. And the fact of the matter was, it was only the people with the large acreage that could afford these signs, but now, like everything else, these signs have become affordable for smaller centers and smaller users. So the technology has changed tremendously. It used to take a lot of acreage to be able to see these signs because they use incandescent lamps, but now they're using LEDs with tighter resolution to where it will only be a few years before they look like a television screen in the air. So a lot of things are changing as far as the technology. We can now service these signs. We can dial them up on our phone and see what is working, what is not working. We can service them without coming out and actually servicing them through technical advances in the product. So there's a lot of technical changes and a lot of good use for these, and we see more and more cities becoming more and more receptive to them because of the various uses in them. So we've worked with the Home Center for many years, and we'd like to help him improve his center. He's got a great location. I'm sure an electronic sign could help bring business into his business and improve some of the tax revenue that he's bringing in. So there's a lot of advantages both ways. So if we can help anyway, over the years since 1961, Quill Brothers has worked with many cities and agencies to work with their sign ordinances. If there's something we can do to help you with yours, you would be happy to do that.
Are you actually working with Mr. Lager as his sign vendor on this project?
Yes, we have. We actually did his original signs, and we actually...
I saw you've got the rendering here, which we kind of talked about that he was going to get us, but we kind of have a start. Was he going to get us something different, do you think?
Yeah, no, I was actually a little surprised he didn't have that with him, but this is what we had spoke to him about. We also included in this package a sign that we did quite a few years ago, this Desert Dental, that's in this picture we have the sign it replaced, and I just wanted to show you how attractive a replacement can be with the existing sign. I would probably have to say, and I'm sure the city planner and director of development, we know that today's code, these steel structures may not be able to support the additional wind load or even the same wind load. When you redesign something, it's not so much the weight you're putting on the poles, it's the new state regulations, building regulations as far as wind load. So one thing that could be done by using electronic signs, he could eliminate these signs here and just give them time to go onto his existing sign, which may lessen the fact that he should have to change these upright supports. But again, on the other hand, a lot of times cities would like to see these uprights decorated somewhat. So there's a lot of changes and consideration that can be given there. But again, too, when you make change like that, you have to meet the new codes, and some of the new building codes don't meet what's existing. So there's a lot of options there, and this is what we're seeing the trend in all of the state, all throughout the state. So be happy to answer any questions you have about electronics.
Any questions for Mr. Quayle?
I have no questions
No?
this time.
No. I just one comment that if you do end up, working with Mr.
Sure.
Lager for the next meeting, he said something about maybe mocking up a design or something. Just personally, I kind of feel that the existing sign with the new rendering, it looks dated with just the white poles. It looks kind of plain. It's
I
not
agree.
matched up, similar to what you shared with this
Exactly.
one. That might just be a thought. Still at this point, not knowing
I agree.
if it would be digital or static at this
Sure.
point. But I know that if there's a change in sign, that's probably going to be an issue.
Sure, absolutely.
And thank you for all the info.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else here to speak to us on item number 6? Okay, seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission to make a motion.
That we continue this item to the,
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Chair Porter, a second by Commissioner Huber to continue item number 6, the digital message signage issues with the electronic signs, to the June 14th regular meeting of the Planning Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That will be continued to June 14th.
Number 7 is the Victor Elementary School needs analysis. Any comments on that one? Number 8 is the Hesperia School District facility needs analysis. Any comments on that one? Okay, time for any planning commissioner reports or presentation. We'll start with Commissioner Dew.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I took the time out, as I said, go on the website regarding the speed rail system, and I was enlightened to the fact that it wasn't an issue where it was to go away. So there's still great interest in having the speed rail system from California to Las Vegas. And with the Raiders being, and which was in the letter, they addressed the Raiders going to Las Vegas. So I think it's a win-win situation for the city of Victorville, city of Barstow, and elsewhere. And I'm delighted, and I welcome Mr. Marsh to the commission. And I think you'll find that it's a good place to be in. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You're back.
Huber?
No comment.
Order?
I want to thank you very, very much for parking red curbing at that.
Commissioner Marsh? Okay. And yes.
May I amend my remarks?
Yep.
Because I would be heartless if I did not. I want to say Happy Mother's Day. That's one of the things I addressed with Vice Chair Paula Porter when she came in. So I just want to say that I think, for me personally, I think there's nothing like having a mother. And I surely had one of the best moms for Lionel M. Dew. That may not have worked out for others, but it certainly worked out for me. But I think for all women, whether they are mothers or not, I think they have three things that men don't have. That is the capability to love in the way they love. They have the compassion that they have, and they give their all. Thank you.
I thought you were talking about me.
Sounded like it.
That was a good one.
I have nothing. Thank you all.
That was a good one.
Meeting adjourned.
That was good.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
You too.